Tucker Carlson is out. I've certainly had thoughts, but I was very curious. What do the people over at Media Matters think? Those poor souls who have to actually watch every word that comes out of his mouth. And so we're very lucky to be joined on the program now by the Deputy Director of Rapid Response at Media Matters, Andrew Lawrence. It's a pleasure to have you on. Welcome to the show.
No, thank you, John. Thank you so much for having me. It's good to be here, especially on this topic.
Great to have you here. And by the way, speaking of rapid response, I assume many of the people at Media Matters had some pretty rapid responses to this like Titanic figure in right-wing media actually stepping down. I have a lot of questions I want to ask you, but first, just what was your initial reaction to this?
Shock more than anything. It came so far out of left field, and they have stood behind him. After everything, all the controversy surrounding Tucker Carlson, all the terrible things that he said, and they stood by him through thick and thin. And then not only that, but Tucker didn't just have his Fox show. He also had Fox Nation, his Fox Nation shows that he had become the face of. He was the main selling point for Fox Nation, which was Fox News's online alternative. And even the programming decisions that they've been making over the last couple of years, every single new host was doing a Tucker Carlson impression. Even the non-opinion hosts, the so-called news hosts, were just regurgitating what he had said the day before and putting a newsy veneer behind it. And everything that they had been doing revolved around Tucker Carlson. And for me personally, I mean, look, I was on vacation on Monday when this news broke, and all of a sudden my phone started blowing up. But for me, it's just shock. Like I just can't believe it. It's like if the Chiefs cut Patrick Mahomes the week before the Super Bowl. It makes no sense at all. And I'm still trying to. My head is still swimming. I can't believe it.
Yeah. I totally get that sports reference, by the way. Anyway, but I get the general idea. So, I think it's funny that you point out that they're doing Tucker impersonations. I certainly agree. In the same way that I think a lot of the like right wingers in the independent right wing media were doing Ben Shapiro impersonations for a while. Now I think they're all honestly doing Tucker Carlson impersonations. And even Tucker Carlson was doing a pretty good Alex Jones impersonation there for the past couple of years. So I have a couple different angles I want to go on this, but why don't we start there? They have these people who've been trying to be Tucker Carlson for some time. So do you think they will, like, obviously they're hurting right now in terms of the ratings, they're down or whatever. But can they just slot in one of these carbon copies of Tucker Carlson? In the long run, will this really matter? Was Tucker necessary, or is it just the slot's gonna get a lot of old white men to watch it so we can put whoever we want in it?
I lean towards the latter. I mean, I've said for a long time now that Tucker Carlson had influence, but he didn't really have power. And the real power lied with Fox News and 8 p.m. And I think you take a look at, Bill O'Reilly, exact same time slot. When he left, when's the last time you even thought about him? Same thing with Glenn Beck and Lou Dobbs. It's more about, I think there's a real Pavlovian response for Fox News viewers to turn on Fox News at 8 o'clock. It's been drilled into their heads for decades that Fox News is all you can trust. That's all you can do is watch Fox News and don't believe anybody else. Now, did the Tucker Carlson firing and the way that it happened so sudden with no farewell from Tucker or anything like that, does that break the trust that Fox News has built up with their viewers over the decades? And I think there is a possibility of that. But look, Fox News is going to be around. Tucker Carlson is doing a video on Twitter, and eventually there's going to be a big controversy in the Biden administration or involving some Democrat, and people are going to flock to Fox News to see what's going on. But I just don't know what their strategy is right now because, like we were saying, everybody was doing a Tucker Carlson impression. If you're just going to bring in somebody like that, if you're going to bring in Jesse Waters, that's just dime store Tucker. Why get rid of Tucker if that's what you're doing? So I mean, I feel like over the years I've gained a pretty good understanding of what Fox News is trying to do and what their strategy is. I've got no idea right now, just absolutely no idea what the next move is for them. And where they're really going to go with the 8 o'clock hour moving forward.
Well, why don't we flip it then? what happens to Tucker? Like you mentioned Glenn Beck, like these things you said, Lou Dobbs, Bill O'Reilly. Maybe we could throw Megyn Kelly on there as well. These are people who were huge. Bill O'Reilly was very much like the Tucker Carlson of his day. Glenn Beck was this like bizarre comic figure almost, and then they left, and then that was pretty much it. They still exist, they still have shows, they still sometimes produce books or whatever, and I'm sure there are people who would literally kill me if they were told to by that host. But will Tucker Carlson just be one of those, or does he transcend that paradigm in some way?
I think there's a possibility for him being a little bit more than them, but he'll never have the influence that he did at 8 o'clock on Fox News, no matter what he does. And I don't see, I mean, one thing you have to understand about Tucker is he has a gigantic ego, and anything other than the 8 p.m. Time slot on Fox News is a step down from him. I don't see him going to Newsmax or OAN. First, I don't think that they can afford him. But I do see, I could see him, editor-in-chief at Daily Caller, and then sitting on the board at a couple of think tanks where he doesn't have to show up and gets $200,000 a year, writing a few books, doing the book tour, the speaking tours, maybe jumping in on Rumble and getting a bunch of stock or something like that where they can shower him with money. Rumble seems to be throwing a lot of money around. But as far as like TV, cable news, I think he's done with that. And without that, like he will never have the influence that he did before, no matter what he does or where he goes. But yeah, I think he's essentially done. Yeah.
I want to thank you for your work, obviously, for joining us, but also for the work that you do at Media Matters. I've relied on Media Matters for many, many years. Appreciate the oversight that you've done on not just Tucker Carlson, but a number of different toxic figures across the last couple of decades. So thank you for that, and appreciate you joining us.
That's really nice of you to say. It means a lot. And no, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Where can people follow your work, by the way?
Just MediaMatters.org we watch Fox News, so you don't have to. And you can find me on Twitter. Just search for Andrew Lawrence, and I got the baby picture.
Nice.
Is the easiest way to find me. So
thank you. I thought for many years that you were actually a baby. I'm shocked to find out you're a full-grown man. Anyway, thank you for being here. Have a good
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.